All right, we just came from Carnevil. Carnevil is a first-year haunt. It's the very first time this haunt has been operating at the Sears Center in Melrose Park. From what we hear, this is sort of the remnants of Dream Reapers, which closed down last season. And we could tell from some of the things that we saw in there were props and things from Dream Reapers. So this consists of three haunts together. There's a dollhouse, there's a crypt, and then there's like a sewer. They call it Carnevil. We didn't know it was going to be three haunts together. So that's sort of a preface to the whole thing. Paul, why don't you give your rating?
All right, so again, this place is called Carnevil, and like Brian said, it's got three haunted houses in it. It's got a sewer, it's got a carny one, a tomb one, and a, what was that last one? Dollhouse. All right, so we go through, and like you said, a lot of the stuff in the tomb one especially, we can tell it's Dream Reapers. It's very similar to that. And the sets are really good. They're fantastic. The actor enthusiasm is wonderful. They got some cool stuff. You know, there's definitely the scare factor actually is pretty low in this one overall compared to some of the stuff we've seen. It's not really that scary. Some people are scared, but overall, it's more entertaining, like a carny kind of thing, really, which I guess is what it's trying to be. The price is $35 to get in. The VIP price is $60. Now, with the VIP price, you get to go through all 300 houses as many times as you want. You got to get in. You got to go through the line. You get the fast pass to go through the line or jump, whatever you call it. And you get to go to the carnival that they have there. You get on the rides. We feel this is $35. $60 is way too high for that. $35 is a bit steep too for the 300 houses. For what you get overall, it just really should be more in the $20-25 range. It's at the Sears Center in off of the States, and it's although the haunted houses are pretty good on their own, you might like one more than the other, but they're all three. Well, two of them, the dollhouse really not that hot overall, not that great. The other two, I would rate probably the Carney one 4 out of 5, the sewer one 3. I'm doing half this year. How about that? I didn't even know it. 3.5 out of 5. And the other one, I'm going to have to go with a 2 out of 5 right now. And overall, I'm rating this a 3 out of 5. The patron flow in the dollhouse, they were letting two people in at a time. It was taking far too long to get through the line. That is, if you've seen our site, you've seen our reviews, the patron flow, that could be a problem. The other thing is the high price. So I'm giving it a 3 out of 5 myself for the overall event. And 4 out of 5 for the Carney, 3.5 out of 5 for the tombs, and 2 out of 5 for the dollhouse. That's nice. All right.
Anyway, well, first of all, the first two haunts I did enjoy it quite a bit. So it was the Carney one we did first, and I don't know, I thought it was amusing and pretty entertaining. And I have to give props to the actors. They all really, they would jump out at you. They all stayed in character. I enjoyed that part of it. And the actors had actually in all three of them. So the Carney one, I thought it was pretty good. And then the two one, I've only been a Dream Reapers once, and I thought it was really well done. But I could see the way it was done was the same like what we heard. But the two one I thought was actually pretty well done too. I liked it. I felt like a really creepy atmosphere that it felt like you were outside in a cemetery or something like that. And once again, the actors were great. Jumped out at you. It wasn't like a high scare factor, but as far as like jumping out at you and spooking you, there was a lot of that in there. And actually all three houses had that. The dollhouse was absolutely good. Yeah, the line was kind of long. The house wasn't very short. I thought it was well done. There was some really good.
You mean was very short?
The hall was pretty short.
Yeah.
It was as short as the three. Overall, I would say if I had to individually rate them, I probably would give the Carney one probably a 4 out of 5. The tomb one, I don't know, I just really enjoyed just for the atmosphere, so I'd probably give it like a 4.5 out of 5. Dollhouse was really good for what it was, but it was kind of short, so for that sector, probably a 3. But overall, I would give the park, all three haunts together as a whole for Carnevil, I would give it a 4, even though that wait was kind of long in the.
What was your favorite part?
part, I just like the whole atmosphere of the tube one.
Yeah.
I thought it was creepy, and I just like the atmosphere of that. As far as like a favorite part, I don't know if I have like an actual favorite part. So, but I thought, I mean, overall, I think Carnival was 4 out of 5. But the first two, when I went into, I was like, oh yeah, this is great. But then, like I said, the third one was a little short. The line, after waiting a long time, it kind of just like get in there and it was over in like, well, how long was that? Like not even 5 minutes. How long would you say?
That was around
pretty
there.
short. So other than that, I mean, but it was well done. Like what they had in there was well done. They had a Resident Evil looking guy near the end. It almost looked like one of like what it was called, Resident Evil.
Lurkers?
Not the lurkers. It was just kind of like.
I-290 is on the
I
right,
guess I was
and then
lying.
keep right onto I-290
Somebody play
east.
Resident Evil. I love that game. All of them actually, but what's that? I can't remember. Anyway, don't worry about it. But it reminded me of something out of Resident Evil, which I thought was cool. So anyway, but 4 out of 5 for Carnival.
Yeah. All right. My you can see me on the strap. My favorite part, by the way, was there was a little old granny in the carny one, and she come out and she started dancing. So I started dancing with her, and she's just little tiny granny. I don't know if it was a man playing a tranny granny or a girl playing a granny, but she was cool. She was neat.
So anyway, Carnival, again, 3 haunts. We did the second and the third first before the first one. I'm glad we did, because the first one was by far the worst one.
Worst, yeah.
And it was the one with the lines. The other two, we had no lines, we got right in. The Carney Town was actually a play on crazy people that live in the sewers. That's what that was all about. It was a sewer motif. You went underground, if you will. There were some swamps around there, different monsters in the swamps. Good set design in there. Pipes, netting, water, things like that.
I-290 east.
As well as a lot of actors in there. I would say at least 3 dozen actors in there from beginning to end, which is a good hallmark for a haunt. I would say the cannibals, they all stayed in character, and one of the good things I like to say about these characters is these characters inhabit their own world. You just happen to be walking through it. There are some haunted house actors who react to you. These characters, they react to you, but they also just wander around and mumble and do their own things too, which I think is great because it gives them a life of their own. There were some good scenes in there. There was a crashed car. There were a lot of funny redneck cannibal hillbilly people in there, of course, looking at us for dinner, which I could understand because I was kind of hungry going through there, so I kind of understood that. But in addition to that, the best part of that haunt was at the end. There was a giant slaughterhouse with not real pig carcasses, but they were actual, instead of normally you see bodies in bags wrapped up in plastic, so it could be anything in there. But these were like pigs chopped up, lots of blood, and a guy with a chainsaw, he was in a pig mask, didn't talk, just came up to you in a pig mask. There were more than one of those guys. And a crazy guy at the end with a raw chicken that he kept wanting to feed to Paul. So that was good. Carney Town was good. The next one was the Crypt. The Crypt, excellent. Made you feel like you were outside and entering the crypt, even though you were underneath a big tent. There were fog. There were a lot of mausoleum type things in there. Skeletons in the walls. Skeleton faces molded into the walls. Real coffins. There was one scene with 3 full-size real coffins at odd angles. One was angled down and things. A couple of voodoo altars in there. A giant ghost-like creature that was animated coming out at you. Zombies. Priestesses. A lot of very interesting, intricate set details. I enjoyed the sets in there the best. And that was also the longest one. The final one was the dollhouse, and by far that was the worst one. The longest line. Patron flow wasn't really that good. It was only about 5 minutes long. Had a nice little elevator trick in the beginning, and the guy in the elevator was actually very good. But we've seen that before many times. It's not a new thing by any means. Great sets. There was a morgue portion, and they had slots in the walls, and they had molded plastic feet on trays.
Yeah, those were cool.
Really looked like a morgue, and an old, disused morgue. And they were using the bodies as dolls. That was sort of the concept. There was a half woman. She looked like half of her body was missing. She was up on some sort of hook. The bottom portion of her body wasn't created yet. She was talking to us about being symmetrical and things like that. And at the very end, there was a character called Big Daddy. This is the guy that Laura is referring to, like out of Resident Evil. This guy was in sort of like a suit of armor, and it was lit up inside his helmet. And he didn't speak; he just made weird noises. He was really cool. And inside, he was even wearing a mask.
And the eye contacts too. He had the eye contacts when I dealt it.
Yeah,
because I got right in his face. I saw him.
He looked excellent, excellent. But one great actor doesn't make a haunt. One great scene doesn't make a haunt, and that one was a letdown for me. At an objective level, $35 for a first-year haunt is way too much money. If this is indeed put on by people who put on these types of haunts before they know that, that's my opinion, they know that. And I would say it's $20 to $25 for the admission price here. If I had to rate them individually, the Dollhouse, just because of the good sets and things, I'll give it a 3, but it's far too short. The Crypt, I'm going to give a 5 to, because great set design, it was a decent length, and it was nice to look at, even if there weren't any actors, which there were. And Carneytown, I'll give a 4 to Carneytown for the same reasons as the Crypt. So overall, I'm going to go with 3 here. 3. The price drags it down, the patron flow, and the Dollhouse I don't think was worth it. I would also add that most people are led to the Dollhouse as their first haunt, and I think that's a bit misleading because that's the shortest one. So I would think they'd want to put the big one first and then the smaller one second and third, but in any case, 3 out of 5 for me.
All right, there we have it. That's our reviews for the carnevil for the first time and the first night they were open, and that's what we think.
See ya.